thank you so much for dropping into another video. Today I'm going to touch on a personal topic, and I'm not a doctor, guys, so this is going to be just my personal story and experience. Just before I get into it, make sure that you are subscribed so that you can actually catch every videos that I drop for you guys. I'm going to be dropping them every week. So I'm going to be talking about my endometriosis and pregnancy story. I posted a picture of my newborn's professional photos on my Instagram, and I just put like a little message about dealing with endometriosis and actually conceiving, and I got really good responses from it, so I thought, why not talk about it. I did get really nice feedback, and some people were really touched by it, so I'm sure you might have some questions. It's such a big topic and a lot of women do suffer with it, and hence why I decided to share my story, because there's nothing to be ashamed about, and it's something that we actually need to talk about a lot more so we can support one another. I was diagnosed with endometriosis from when I think I was about 16. I was very young, so I've been dealing with it for a good few years. I used to suffer with very bad period cramps. I used to go to my GP, and of course, as you know guys, when you go to the GP, what do they tell you? Go home, take some paracetamol, use a hot water bottle. It's not something that is diagnosed very quickly. It can take up to 5 years to diagnose it or something like that, because you can't diagnose it through like a blood test or through like a urine sample, or you need to actually have like a laparoscopy. Guys, my period was so bad. Like, I used to literally be cramped up in bed. I would miss school for it, miss work for it. I'll be like a whole different person, and I know it can get really bad. Like, some people actually faint. I never ever got used to the pain, and I don't know how people do it. Moving on, years later, I was put on, I tried all kind of different conception. I tried all kind of different contraceptives, because obviously that's what will kind of help it. It's a condition that you can't cure, you just kind of live with it and you learn to just manage it, and one of the ways is through contraceptions, because obviously it will help with your periods and manage your periods. So I tried loads of different ones, guys, and it didn't really work. I was finally put on an injection called Zoladex, and the reason I was put on this injection, guys, is because 3 years ago, and I've got a video, I'll put a link so you can watch that, I had a pneumothorax, and that was where my lung collapsed. So when that happened, they didn't know what was the cause of it. It was spontaneous, and what the doctors thought was that it might have been linked to my endometriosis, and the reason for that is because I was diagnosed stage 4 endometriosis, which is the highest stage. So basically the tissue of the lining, where you get your period and it's supposed to go one way, it's supposed to go one direction, but basically it doesn't, and it just sticks and goes everywhere, and mine was everywhere, to the point where I think I had even some in my lungs also. So when I was in hospital, because I was admitted, they decided to put me on this Zoladex. It's very strong to completely stop my periods until I was recovering from my lung collapsing. So yeah, so it's very intense. When I was put on Zoladex, you only supposed to really be on it for no longer than 6 months. I used to see my gynecologist regularly, guys. Like, I feel like I was so known in the hospital because I was in that place so much, and I used to sit down with my gynecologist, and it became, my appointments kind of became jarring, just for the simple fact that the only way really to suppress the endometriosis at this stage is when you have children, and it wasn't ever really an option because I wasn't dating, I wasn't seeing anybody, I was just like, what am I supposed to do? Like, guys, it was just so it was a bit discouraging, my appointments, because it got to the point where I was just like, well, it's nothing that I can do. So the conversation started getting serious because of my age. It's something that actually affects your ability to conceive, and it can actually make you infertile. So my gynecologist was very concerned about it. So he was like, listen, you need to start having kids if you want to have kids, or we need to start thinking about preserving your eggs, or you need to start thinking about things like IVF. So we started having very difficult conversations, and you know, it got to the point where I was like, okay, well, we need to do something. I was being reviewed, I believe it was like maybe every 3 months or every month, because obviously I had other health conditions, so I was being reviewed regularly, and it got to the point where I wanted to have a look at an alternative, because Zoladex, you know, it was quite strong, and you know, obviously I had done 6 months of it already. So I went to see my gynae, and he was like, okay, what other contraceptions can we use? You know, we've gone through quite a lot of them. Then we spoke about the coil, we spoke about the coil and other types of contraception, maybe going back on the pill and things like that, and nothing really worked, guys. And I think I remember I even took one tablet. I cannot remember, I can't remember what it's called. If I can remember it, I'll put the name. This particular tablet that I was given, it actually affected my liver, and it actually was eating away my liver, guys. It was so bad, and I didn't even know. I didn't even have any symptoms. I eventually went to the doctor. I had to see a liver specialist, and I had to stop that medication immediately, guys, immediately, because the way that the consultant was describing it to me, he was like, you see, alcoholics, when they have so much alcohol that their liver function literally is like eating away, and he was giving me all of these medical numbers that I would not even be able to tell you, but it was terrible, guys. It was horrendous. So I had to stop it straight away, and we was a no for the coil. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just stick to the Zoladex for now. I was very happy with Zoladex, guys, because I could not handle having periods, and I was extremely scared and anxious as well about my periods coming back, just for the simple fact that obviously I was like, well, am I gonna get another lung? Is my lung gonna collapse again because my periods are going to come back? Is it going to come back heavier? Is it going to come back more painful? Because obviously when you've been on contraception for a long time, you don't know how your body's going to react to it, so you might not know whether you're going to come with a full flow, or you know, where it's going to be 100 times going to be like, oh, you're trying to take me down, you know what I'm saying? So I was very anxious about it. I remember going to see the nurse to get my injection. There was something in me that was just like, do you know what, I've been on this for so long, I don't even know what it's doing to my body. I don't know whether it's affecting me, whether it's killing me, or you know, I don't know. And when she went to put the injection in, my skin was so tough, and she was like, that's because you had the injection so much, it's making your tissue like really tough or something like that. And I was like, you know what, this is going to be the last time. This is the last time. I can't do this to my body anymore. So I had my last injection, and I was like, that's it, no more Zoladex, no more none of that poisonous stuff going into my body. And I remember being at work one day, and I was talking to this lady on the phone, and we completely went off topic, but she was basically telling me about how she was on contraception for such a long time and how it ruined her, and she was just like, you know what, if you're on it, just get off it. And that kind of confirmed some things in me as well. I think it might have been about May or something like that, I had my last one. You have them every month. When my periods came back, thank goodness, it wasn't extremely heavy, it wasn't painful at all. I was so worried. I was just like, it was actually less painful than before. I could actually do things. I wasn't crippled in bed. I was so nervous, you do not even understand. Obviously when you've had something traumatic, or you've been in hospital for a long time and you've had all these operations, it really does traumatize you. And just the fact that my lung had collapsed because of the endometriosis, and which was linked to having my periods. You can imagine me not having periods for like maybe a year, to then coming to have periods. Like, I was extremely anxious, but thank God it was fine. It was really fine. 3 months later, after coming off my injection, I think it was about 3 months, sorry, my lighting has changed, I conceived my baby girl. And I was a bit shocked. I was just like, what? And just to backtrack as well, so when I came off before I came off my injection, I had developed this condition called ascites, where you get a lot of fluid in your tummy. A picture so you can see what my stomach looked like. And guys, I used to look so big. I looked like 6 months pregnant, and nobody knew where the fluid was coming from. The doctors didn't know. They didn't know where to send me. They didn't know which department of the hospital I should be under. Guys, I went through a whole lot of stress, and my body went through a whole lot of stuff health wise. So I can only literally thank God, because I'm like, how did this happen? It was so uncomfortable, and it would literally just build up. And it wasn't even anything I particularly ate. I even tried to go gluten-free and tried to eat a bit healthier and eat things that was anti-inflammatory, eat things that didn't have like yeast and things, you know, things that can really bloat you up. I never really like drunk fizzy drinks. I always drank water, guys. And how I noticed that it wasn't even something that I was allergic to was when I would drink water and I was still blow up, guys. That's tap water and bottled water. For that reason, I had to have an operation which I was booked in for, and I went into the hospital about 5 o'clock in the morning or something ridiculous like that. And obviously when you go to the hospital, they do tests on you, and they're like, do you think you could be pregnant? And I was just like, no, definitely not, because obviously I didn't know how long this injection comes off your body, you know. I didn't know, because it can take quite a long time apparently. So I was like, no. And because my lung had collapsed, they were really nervous to do the operation. The operation was to remove the fluid from my tummy. Never saw the anesthetic specialist, so when he saw me, he was like, I'm not really too confident to put you under the knife. We need to do some more tests. So they cancelled the operation. So when we was on the way home, I got a call from the nurse, and she was like, you know, you said that you won't be able to get pregnant. And I was like, yeah. She was like, well, you are pregnant. And I was like, no. She was like, yes. I was like, no, are you sure? So that's when I found out that I was pregnant, and I was extremely nervous because I didn't know how. I felt like I had so much toxic in my body, so much health issues. I was like, is the baby even gonna survive? So I held on the excitement for a very long time. That's how it happened. That's my endometriosis and pregnancy story. I don't know if there's anything in particular that anyone's got questions about that you might want to ask me. That was just kind of like the basic, just to kind of give you a background of how I've been dealing with it. So obviously now I've had my baby. I haven't had like a period yet, so I don't know what it's going to be like. I don't know what life is with living with endometriosis after you have a baby. I've heard different stories, so I'm just gonna keep an eye on it, keep monitoring my body, and obviously just keep you guys up to date as well if you want to know. If you've got any particular questions, then obviously feel free to ask me. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If there's anything that I've missed, I can just do it in another video. Don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up if you like the video, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.